It was only a digression. It was small, a small digression. I just have been taking piano since I was about 6. And naturally got involved in the school activities because I enjoyed it. Ended up singing in musicals. But the backdrop of my life, I would say similar to his, was the music in the house, which was jazz.
There was a lot of music being played in the house when I was young. I remember hearing a lot of Louis Armstrong and Count Basie and Ella Fitzgerald, Dinah Washington, those kind of people. So I came home one day a little bit later and there was a piano in the house. And so I started taking lessons when I was about 10.
It occurred to me midway through high school that in terms of college, that would probably be my major. So since I've been taking piano so long, I went into Northwestern as a piano major with the mindset to change to voice, which I was able to do. And unlike people who may not make that decision to major in the arts going in, once you do that, you've pretty much made a commitment to that as a career, or at least it was for me. Really growing up in the footprint of where that developed. You know, the University of Chicago, the ACM, that was all going on in the Hyde Park, South Shore, kind of south side of Chicago.
You know, when I got there, I was the only black male admitted that year. There were only 100 people. That was 67. So there were 100 people in the music school, freshmen. And I was the one guy, plus I was from the East Coast. Everybody else was pretty much Chicago area.
And I had been there almost a year when we actually met, because even though I was in the music school, I was a freshman. He was an upperclassman. So Joe Williams said to me once that a singer is telling a story. You know, that's the way he saw himself. Even though you might be having fun with it, you're really connecting directly with your audience.
My education, to a great degree, was our own performance, because we had our student band that we were playing. And when we got there, it was a quartet. I think it was Fred Anderson, Billy Brimfield, Fred Hopkins, and Steve McCall. And so it's like, you know, Ornette Coleman, like, you know, no piano, sax and trumpet, bass and drums. So like, wow, hey, this is really on the money, right? And so they were really firing it up that night. So when we found out that they were, well, Steve, Fred, and Fred Hopkins, they were all AACM.
You know, we were just developing a style, and that went on for several years. The art ensemble hadn't even been around at first because they were living over there. They came back, you know, Joseph started doing stuff with us. Everybody was starting to mix up, and so we did these festivals where Roscoe would have a piece and he'd have different people in it from both generations, or Steve did an orchestra piece, everybody's sitting there, and he'd bring in press from Europe, Asia, and so on in. And we were all honing our skills as publicists and everything else while, you know, also being artists.
I had always thought that eventually I would like to move back east, because, you know, when I first went out to Chicago, I was thinking, well, I'll be out here for 4 years, and, you know, that's it, you know. And I was there for about 16 years before we actually moved back.
It's important to have people like us teaching who are actively working in the field and pushing and creating something new, so that you're sharing that with your students. You're not just opening a book. You know, Steve's students come in and he's teaching them world music or jazz or piano or whatever, and after 2 or 3 weeks he said, this is a funny generation. They're Googling me and coming in saying, Professor, you didn't, you know, say this, and this, you know. I say, yeah, they Googled you. That's what happened, you know. So the book and compilation, Freedom, Rhythm, and Sound, that's just been issued, that we and a number of people are a part of. The whole concept behind that was, it was the 60s and the early 70s. Self-reliance, you know, change was in the air and happening. People were doing what they were doing and saying things like, there will be change by any means necessary. And so, you know, that was kind of the feeling, like we are gonna, you know, just do this music and create environments in which it can happen.
You know, we have been playing with quite a number of different people, but for this one, we thought, well, actually, Iqua was saying, maybe you should do, you know, concentrate more on piano. So I said, okay, so I started thinking about it, and actually, the first person to actually hire me, because we were still playing, we had our own band when we came here, and we would still play with a few people here and there. But the first person to actually hire me to bring me in his own band was Reggie Workman when we moved out here. So it was myself and Andrew again, but you know, we were doing what Reggie was decided to do, doing his pieces and things. So we had a long relationship, so it was, and it's so much fun playing with them all the time. And they, you know, they put you on your toes, you know, you gotta be on guard when you play with them. So we thought it was, you know, a good mix for us at this time. We pick and choose pieces that will kind of give us more latitude. And we've always leaned toward having a little something political to say, or, you know, social comment of some kind.
So you've put together a CD. People may or may not be familiar with the style, but I think there's enough good music with, you know, great artists playing it for us to have the audience that's already familiar with us enjoy it, and people who aren't to begin to, you know, to look at it and find things they can enjoy and become familiar with what we do.
We want to hear something that you as an individual are bringing to the table. Otherwise, you're just replicating things that have been done before.